So we continue with chapter 25, employment and unemployment rates. So today we're going to employment, unemployment, and activity rates. So when we talk about activity rates, simply talking about the population being economically active. That means they are working and not just not doing nothing. That is what activity rate is about. So for government, it's a government attempts to achieve full employment in their economies. Why will government tend to achieve full employment in its country? Government wants to do this because it's part of government macroeconomic objective. Government macroeconomics objective. One of government macroeconomic objective is to achieve full employment. So yeah, government attempts to achieve full employment as it is one of the macroeconomic objective. And unemployment represents a significant cost. Therefore, reducing it will be considered economically desirable. If there is unemployment, it's a social vices. It means vandalism will increase. A lot of things will happen because people are idle. And an idle mind is a devil workshop, like they used to say. So people become when they are idle, they think on the other side. They are not. They don't think about their potentials, what they could do. So this means every now and then, government of the country would find a way to stop these things. So that's why it's important. It's economically desirable for any country to ensure that its working population are fully employed. So who are those government really usually targets? Mostly government targets the women and the, the old workers. Why the women? I wrote. Women, they tend to have lower activity rates based on lack of educational opportunities and cultural views, mostly in North African regions. However, many governments are adopting policies to increase female participation rates, as this will increase GDP and economic growth. So most of the time, especially in North Africa, the perspective or the perception of women working is the cultural view of women working is like, no, they are not supposed to work. It's a cultural view or maybe a religious view about it. So it means that in most North African countries, they have high unemployed women. Maybe truth, which can also be lack of educational opportunity. They might not be able to to further more because they feel like, why do you have to further more? The view. But I believe with the situation on ground now, with globalization, government start thinking about how to get them engaged, involved. So now we have women being prime minister, women even in North Africa being minister for maybe foreign affairs and the rest.
Women rights.
So the point is, government will try to ensure that women start being active in the economy because if women are active, it increases the GDP of the country. So that's about women. Then we go to the older workers. For older workers, it's simply talking about, I wrote, government have to pay pensions when workers reach state retirement age because when they are retired,
Above 65.
yeah, above 60 above 60, yeah, 65 upward. It depends on the country anyway. So the point is, as soon as you are retired, you government have to pay the social benefit like state pension for government employees. So this is considered as an expenses for government. Do you understand? So I wrote, this increases government spending on welfare benefit. However, government in most developed economies are trying to raise the retirement age. So instead of people just getting to 60 and they have the ability to work, they just get retired, which brings about government paying more. So government these days try to increase the retirement age so that they can still be at work and they can still be active instead of getting paid at their earliest age. So do you get the point or not?
Yes.
If people retire earlier, it means the supply of labor would reduce. And if supply of labor reduces, it means workers will not be available for firms and government will have to increase its spending on social benefits. Do you understand the point I'm making?
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
So mostly government would want to try to ensure that the retirement age increases so that people can still be active and it helps the economy. Instead of government spending, it increases government revenue. Do you get the point there? So that's one of the impacts on employment and unemployment. Then the next one is migration. When we talk about migration, we're talking about the movement of people in and out of the country. We have the emigrants and the immigrants. Emigrants are people who leave your country, like the Libyans leaving Libya, and immigrants are like I being here. So the point about migration is this. The level of migration can have an important impact on employment and unemployment. A country with a positive net migration may benefit from circular flow of income of the immigrants, as this will create jobs. The first point is there. So, if there's a positive net migration here, that means a lot of immigrants or a lot of people come into the country. So, these people that come into your country, they are mostly economical immigrants. They are not here for tourism, they are here to work. The income they earn is circular. So, that means they earn and they spend in your country. So spending in your country means it increases revenue for businesses in your country, and that could as well increase job opportunity in the country. That's the first advantage there. Do you get the point here? Also, if the immigrants are skilled, they will be able to transfer knowledge to the citizens of the host country, which will enhance economic growth. So if they are skilled immigrants coming into the country, they transfer knowledge. Like I am here, I'm skilled. I teach students, and some of my students are even teachers now. And some are working in the bank, yes. So I don't want to name schools anyway, but some of my students are even teachers now, 2 or 3 students. So I transfer knowledge to them. They attain education or higher education degree, University. And now they are teaching. Some are in the bank, some are working with government and the rest. So the transfer, because we are skilled immigrants, not only me, a lot of immigrants are skilled. Because they are skilled, when they come into the country, they transfer the knowledge, the skills they have to improve the economy of the country. So that's another important step. But for developing countries, however, for developing countries, okay. For developing countries, the remittance payments sent back home to relatives as a significant source of income and source of foreign exchange. Now, I'm here. Whatever I make, I transfer. It's remitted back to my country. Yes or no? So it means in my country, it's a source of income for my country and a source of foreign exchange, because it's going to be the Libyan dinars transferred to the naira. So there's exchange rate in between. Yes or no? So it means it's also a significant amount of money that goes into the Nigerian economy through my remittance and others who live here or abroad in any other country. They remit money back to their own. This is a sort of income for the country. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Good.
But the problem about me being here is that if a lot of me are out of Nigeria, it is called capital flight. So we live in our country with our skills, going to other countries. So in the long term, it's not beneficial for the country.
Why?
Because a lot of skilled workers have left. So the knowledge they are supposed to use in their country, they use it outside of the country. So we call it capital flight.
But Nigeria has a big population.
I know. What I'm saying is, there are a lot of me anyway, but if a lot of skilled workers leave a country, then it's huge. It means a lot of expertise have left, and it doesn't help the country in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
It is called capital flight, which is not good and ideal for any economy. Do you get it? So there's always an opportunity cost. The advantage is that we come in here, we remit money, yeah. But what about the skills that we left with? The knowledge that we got there that we are living with.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get it? So that's about it makes sense, right? Yeah. So that's about migration, which also have impact on employment and unemployment. I think it's clear. Also, another point about migration is that if a lot of immigrants come in here and they are skilled, if they are skilled in those aspects that the Libyans are lacking, it's fine. But if they are still coming with the same knowledge and skills of the Libyans, then what's the point being here? It will make the market to be saturated. Do you get the point here?
Yes.
But when you look at, for example, the educational industry, we hardly find Libyans in the economics business line. But we have the chemistry, the physics, they are intact there. So the gap in between is covered by foreigners. So these really make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Is it clear?
Yes.
Any question about that?
No.
Okay. So that ends the impact of unemployment and employment in migration and inactive rates. So we're going to the cost now of unemployment. It's a long-term unemployment is generally considered to be a great social evil. This is perhaps not surprising in the view of the following cost of unemployment. So we call it a social evil because it disrupts the society. It's more of social cost. It's a market failure. So it brings about vandalism, crime rates increasing, and the rest. So what are the costs? So I wrote here, unemployment brings about societal decline based on the following reasons. One, cost to the unemployed and their dependents. The people who are likely to lose the most are the unemployed themselves. The loss of income that could have been earned at the person being in job. It doesn't. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about the loss of income that could have been earned. So, if I don't have a job, it means I'm losing out on income, and that is not desirable. It's not ideal. So, I suffer the most because I don't have income, based on the fact that I don't have a job. That's the point there. It doesn't end there. One other crucial point is that the unemployed and their family also suffers due to negative view of being unemployed. You know, there's this societal pressure, like, oh, he's unemployed, he's not serious. So it means you that you are unemployed, your family will suffer because the view of the society regarding you is unserious. Do you understand the point there? Notice board. For short-term unemployment, because we have short-term unemployment and long-term unemployment. We could say short-term unemployment is frictional. It's temporary. You get my point? So for short-term unemployment, the costs are relatively low and the social and psychological costs are likely to be limited. If you just lose a job and you are unemployed for a short period of time, maybe for 6 months, for 3 months, then you have a job. So the psychological impact is not much. So what will people say after 3 months? You get the job back. But for long-term unemployment, that is huge. However, for long-term unemployed, they suffer the most because employers may fear that they might have lost track on different way of working, different skills, therefore not ideal to be hired. Or they may feel that the potential employee has personal issues, which makes other employers turn them down. So for long-term unemployment, if people are out of job for years, they are not attractive anymore because employers will feel like they don't have the updated skills to really put them to the next level. So what value would they be able to add to the organization? Because they are unemployed for a long period of time. So if they are unable to, because if you are unemployed, you might not have the ability or the financial capability to train yourself to the latest trend. To train yourself, you cannot because you don't have income to do that. So if you are unable to train yourself because you are unemployed, it means you don't have the required skill of now. So that's the first point. So you are not attractive to employers to employ you. And another point is that because you are unemployed for a long period of time, employers may feel like you have a personal issue. That's why employers are turning you down. So why would they be the one to employ you? Do you understand? So that's the cost of unemployment to unemployed people. Is it clear? The second one, the cost of unemployment to society, right? The cost to the society. So here I wrote, this includes the private cost and the unemployment to the unemployed themselves and the external cost it impacts to the community. So if there's unemployment, there's private cost, which is the cost to you, and there's external cost, which is the cost to the society. Why? Because an unemployed person, because he or she is idle, might start thinking about negative things. He's idle, he or she is idle. So he might go into crime, he might go into different negative vices, which is not good for the society. It's not just going to affect him or her, it's also going to affect the society.
It goes to the hidden market.
Is it clear? So that's about cost to the society. And the third one, cost to the government. Here I wrote, the cost of unemployment to government is significant, as many governments in different countries have to pay unemployment benefits. They have to pay unemployment benefits, which is increasing their expenditure. And it does not only increase the expenditure of government, it also reduces government revenue through taxes. Because the unemployed, if they had jobs, they would have paid income tax. Now, they don't have jobs. Government is losing out on income and on tax revenue, and at the same time, government is paying for unemployment benefits. So it's significant. Do you understand the cost to the government here? Good. Then the impact of this, please. Then the impact of unemployment on resource utilization. Here I wrote, taxpayers paying money to the unemployed is not a loss for the economy, as it is a means of income distribution to increase aggregate demand. So yeah, when we look at it like, oh, taxpayers' money is being government use taxpayer money to pay unemployment benefits. It is not a loss to the economy. It's not a loss for the economy. Why? Because it increases. It means there's distribution of income. So if taxpayer money is being used as a way of reducing the gap between the rich and the poor, it means aggregate demand within the economy would increase. And if aggregate demand increases because people now have money, have income, based on the fact that government pays them, so they will be able to buy goods or services. Yes or no?
Yes.
So it means consumption would increase in the economy, and as a result of that, it might lead to increasing. It might lead to job creation. So taxpayer money used to distribute income to reduce the gap between the rich and the poor is not a loss for the economy. But the problem is, the problem is that unemployment means labor is underutilized. So the point is, because they are unemployed, they are not working. The money they get from government is a sort of transfer payment. Money goes to them and there's no output in return. Yes or no?
Yes.
So it means they are not creating anything. So that means workers are underutilized in the economy. And which simply means the economy is operating inside the PPF. The economy is not reaching its potential because a lot of people are unemployed. Do you understand? So that is the impact of unemployment on resource utilization. Resources are not fully utilized because the economy is going to be operating inside the PPF rather than on the boundary. Is it clear? So that's the cost or the impact of unemployment to capacity utilization or resource utilization. And the next one is cost to consumers. For the unemployed consumers, they lose out because they don't have money to spend. Yes or no?
Yes.
So they spend less because they don't have income. So that is for consumers who are unemployed. Then consumers that live in areas that have high unemployment rates, they also lose out. How and why? They lose out because shopping centers in highly unemployed areas will be run down. They won't be making revenue because most of the people there don't have income to spend. So they would be operating on a smaller scale. As a result of that, consumers there might not be able to have access to varieties of goods or services. Do you get how they lose out there?
Yes.
So that's cost to consumers. To the unemployed consumers, they don't have income to spend. For the ones that are employed, living in areas that are highly unemployed, they would also lose out because they won't be able to find goods or services that they really wanted, because shops, offices there will be run down based on low revenue. Is it clear?
Mm-hmm.
And the last one on cost of unemployment is cost to the firms or cost to firms. I wrote, firms suffer because unemployment represents a loss of demand in the economy. So because there's increasing unemployment, there's high unemployment rate, it means income level is low. Income level would fall, and if income level falls, it means people will not be able to spend as they used to spend. So that means loss of revenue for firms or for businesses. That is the first point there. Is it clear?
Mm-hmm.
If there were full employment, the economy would be more healthy as consumption will increase, bringing about significant revenue. So there's loss of revenue because if unemployment rate is falling and employment rate is increasing, firms will be able to make more revenue. I think the point is clear there. Long-term, now we go to long-term unemployment regarding to firms. Long-term unemployment also reduces the pool of skilled workers that a firm could employ. So because there's long-term unemployment, people are out of job for a long period of time. They don't have money to update, to upgrade their skills, their know-how. So it means whoever is available for job does not have the updated skills required. So this makes it difficult for employers to even employ workers with skills. So that means they're just going to employ workers that lack, skills needed for survival, or skills needed to make them to be competitive. Is it clear?
Yes.
So this ends unemployment.